Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to you, Jesse Reynolds, about the film Obsessed to Death, starring Holland Roden, which is available on TUBI. Welcome to the show, man. It's so good to see you.
Oh, Petey, thanks for having me. It's been years I've been wanting to do this. I didn't know all I had to do was get in a thriller movie.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty crazy. Well, I always found that interesting. I mean, you work in radio, you do stand-up comedy, you're acting in this. Did you know it was all going to kind of happen? You were going to do a bunch of different storytelling, or did it kind of just happen?
You know, that's interesting. And it's funny, everything happens at once. This has been a crazy good year for me.
When it rains, it pours.
It's so true. It's so true. But this is going to sound cheesy, Petey, but I've always sort of thought of myself as an actor. That's what I'm trained in. That's what I went to school for. So when I have all these other storytelling roles, I think of it as just being an actor, playing a comedian or playing a radio host or playing whatever I'm doing.
Yeah, absolutely. The movie's out of control. I don't want, we get into certain things, but I want audiences going in fresh with a lot of films. You know what I mean? So Tubi just dropped the trailer for it. It's available on their platforms. What's it like though, working on kind of a thriller movie in a time where the genre is pretty massive right now? Like thriller and horror is arguably one of the biggest genres right now, Jesse.
Oh yeah, and just to mention the trailer, which is I've watched it 100 times. I'm in love with it. It's so good. But to your point, they give a lot away in the trailer. Like they kind of even give away who the killer is. And usually they don't do that. But I found with this one, it still makes you want to watch it.
Well, you're in media as well, so you get screeners sometimes. I feel like I enjoy things more because I sometimes see things 2-3 months in advance. There's not even a trailer out. So you go in super fresh. And I kind of like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't know much about it. I didn't even know you were in the movie. I put
surprise.
It literally was a surprise. And then you were tagged on something that someone said you were in it afterwards. Yeah. And I was like, I'm surprised because I have you on social media. I'm surprised I didn't see a posting before that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, we weren't always allowed to until we knew when it was coming out and stuff. You know me, I was But
there was some stuff in your stories and I was kind of man, I didn't clue in, but I literally watched the movie and I'm like, Jesse Reynolds. What?
Oh my gosh, so you got to see the whole thing?
Yes.
Oh, wow. I haven't even seen the whole thing yet.
I've seen it.
And so am I good in it?
Yes, you were great. Well, that's why you're here.
Oh, great. Okay. Cut that out.
No, it's just, so your character obviously, is
Gage.
kind of in the thick of things, right? There's a lot kind of going on. There's an obsession going on. Yeah. Possibly death involved. We're not sure.
Little bit.
But so what's that role? What's that like for you, playing a role where you're not the main conflict, the two people involved, but you're kind of thrown in the middle of it? What's that like for you?
Oh, it was so much fun because I'm the comic relief, right? I'm the gay best friend. So it's a thriller. It's a serious movie, but there's definitely moments of comedy and moments of, sassiness. And my character is one that gets to deliver most of those. So on set, a lot of people were very jealous. Holland several times is why does Jesse get all the funny lines? Because I'm the funny character.
Because that's...
You get to... Oh, I almost spoiled something.
Well, you get to be crazy.
Yeah, right.
Possibly.
You said it.
Yeah. Yeah, you said it, not me.
Holland's the killer, okay?
Well, I mean, it's out as of today in the States.
Spoiler alert.
Which is amazing. I mean, you got to work with Stefan on this as well.
Yeah.
Canadian icon. I mean, Degrassi. I mean, come on.
Snake? Are you kidding?
Snake.
Oh my gosh, what an honor. And, when he came up to me when we wrapped and was he put his hands on my shoulder and he was like, man, you're a star. That's the best compliment I could have ever got.
He commented on your Instagram too. He's like, you're very good at it. I was like,
I knew. So I was really glad that I impressed him so much. But honestly, Pete, I had the time of my life. I'd never worked on a project with that budget or that size. So it was just incredible being a thriller, getting to do fun stuff. I don't want to give too much away, but the scenes where I may or may not get killed were really fun to shoot. And there's more than one of them. Figure that out. But it was a lot of fun.
100%. I can't even imagine the people that like do interviews in advance about Scream, where like there's always like that one or two like cast members that don't die, but everyone else dies. So they're literally like, if I die or not, which is like can go either way at this point. Like,
well, I know it. Like I posted the trailer and I said I'm ready to do the sequel, and someone's like, "Great, now I know you don't die. Send." And I'm like, "Well,
flashbacks.
You never know.
Flashbacks."
Or I could be a ghost. It's a horror. Like, you don't know.
Or you're not dead. Like, it's
or I'm not dead. Only one way to find out.
Watch it on Tubi.
That's right.
Digital age, so many kind of amazing platforms. I mean, one of my favorite kind of things about this age is the access of content and the amount of many streaming services. Tubi is a new one. Tubi's rocking right now. What's it like to be part of kind of Tubi right now, where there's a lot of momentum going on?
Oh, I am so thrilled because let me just tell you, and I don't want to date myself here, but when I first booked this and I found out it was on Tubi, I hadn't heard of Tubi. Tubi's huge in the States right now, and it's making waves in Canada. But I was like, oh, great, what's this platform? But then I searched for it on my TV. It's already installed on my TV.
I know.
It's free.
It is.
You know, everybody can access it. And I recently wrapped another movie called Road Trip Romance. It's out on Hallmark. And a lot of people were like, oh, I can't see it. I don't have cable. So I was like, what the hell? And now streaming free, everybody can access it, which is part of that's just so awesome.
So you auditioned for Obsessed to Death?
Yes, I did. And
did you audition for that character?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so you went in with that for that audition for that character. Does it ever happen? Because like I hear all the time, it's like you're the first one that I've interviewed for a while where they audition for the character to get it. Everyone else is like, actually, I didn't audition for this character. I auditioned for another character.
Yeah, I mean, Petey, you know me kind of, and this character isn't exactly a stretch. So I think that helped. You know, he's just like me on steroids and maybe with better abs. But it was, you do so many auditions as an actor, particularly in Canada, that you're grateful for each and every one, but it's almost just like throwing things at the wall. I love how you just effortlessly nonchalantly in Canada. Well, I mean,
oh my God,
we're being real, aren't we?
You said that with like no breath. You said that like that was well done. That was, yeah.
Well, it's in the business, man, and So I mean, this one I had my fingers crossed because I knew how well I could play this character, and I'm glad Stefan and Smith Casting thought so too.
Oh, absolutely. What is your favorite thing about being a storyteller? Is there anything that you like the most about it?
You know, obviously, like connecting with people, and when you realize that you've made an impact, or somebody appreciates what you've told them, or even if you can move somebody even better, whether that's through laughter or make them cry in a good way. Mm-hmm. It's just I don't know if I can articulate why that brings me joy or why that's my passion, but it's definitely connecting with people and just bringing stories to life. And I'm grateful that I seem to have a talent for that, whether it's on the radio or on stage or
make people
in this
laugh.
movie.
Yeah, I wrote in this movie on Tubi. Watch it now.
That's right.
Basically, so I always ask that question, and it's literally just kind of like a 50-50 at this point. Like, you gave a great answer. Sometimes you have people that are just like, it's fun. And I'm just like, well, that was like, yeah, I agree. But like, can you give me more?
What do you want us to say? We don't care about storytelling. I just want to be famous. Come on. I just need to be rich.
It's crazy because some people, you know, a lot of times, sometimes I send questions in advance to the guest, right? I didn't send you questions in advance, so we're just winging it. But sometimes I'll put that in, but sometimes I won't, and I'll ask the storytelling question, and like people have it like ready to go. Like they know, it's like almost like they knew I was going to ask it. Maybe they watched my interviews. Right?
Well, I like that you call it storytelling because that kind of crosses all the genres, right? And if you're somebody like myself that works in different medium, or you know, storytelling is really what we do.
Do you think people know, like, do you think, because it's interesting for me, because we're also in media and, you know, you do stand-up comedy as well, you radio. Do you think people officially understand the grind and the hustle? Because it's on people's radars more because of social media, right? People post and tweet like, oh my God, like long day at work and like all that stuff. And like,
I think it's split. I think it's very split. I think when you get a big win like this movie, people are like, oh crap, like that must have been tough to land that. And then you kind of earn their respect when they see the size of the project you're able to secure. But day to day, I think that it's split. Like some people respect it and they know the hustle it takes, and others kind of think, anybody could do that. Or he's talking about the Kardashians on the radio. Yeah, well, you wake up at 3:30 in the morning every day and see what Kim Kardashian had for lunch. It's not always easy or fun.
No, but it's the 3:30 a.m. I feel like is the biggest. Like I don't think people understand. You know, when like the 6 a.m. guy on the air is not just showing up at like 5:55. You know what I mean?
We got to figure out what we're going to talk about. Yeah. And thankfully, I have a co-host, Monica, who's great. And I've always been on a multi-person show. Yep. So I don't know what it's like to prep by yourself. So I value having somebody to bounce it off of.
Well, it's just you like at like 3:30 a.m. Just like, what am I going to talk about?
What am I doing? Yeah, but that is brutal. Like it's almost my bedtime. So apologize if I look puffy. I'm trying to hold it together for you.
No, well, absolutely. No, this is great. And a couple more questions quickly. I do have a question to ask about stand-up comedy. And I've been throwing some easy ones at you. I mean, it's not really a crazy question, but it's just stand-up comedy's hard. And one can make an argument that like it's getting harder and harder and harder. You know what I mean? What is anything you want to say about the current kind of state of stand-up comedy and everything?
Well, it's scary. I don't want to get slapped. How about that?
Oh yeah, it's true.
You know, I mean, it is frightening that like the whole cancel culture thing. I mean, I want to say that we're kind of getting out of that now in that people.
But I feel like stand-up comedy, sorry to interrupt, I feel like they were always walking on eggshells, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, to the greater public, what I was going to say is like people who are coming to the show usually want to be there. So you don't really get into trouble with live shows. I think it's more specials or tweets or things like that.
Yeah.
But my process is very different. Like what I was saying at the beginning, I really do see myself as an actor pretending to be a stand-up comedian because I'm a performer, I'm an entertainer. I'm not really a writer. So it took me so long to get into stand-up because I was like, well, I can't write jokes. I'm an actor. I read other people's words and I can bring them to life, but I can't write my own. So it took me a long time to accept that, you know what, maybe I can. So I say all that to say that I have my set material. I have probably an hour, which is great, but that's it. So some guys or girls will get up there and they have different stuff each time. Yeah. Mine very much is like a monologue, and depending on the event, I'll pick and choose which jokes I'm doing. But I know what jokes I'm doing. It's a cohesive set. I don't stray from it. So in that way, it is a lot like acting. Like
That's very interesting. Yeah, I feel like I sometimes have stand-up comics on. And by the way, like having stand-up comics, sometimes it is like, you don't know sometimes, like sometimes they're hard interviews, I'm going to be honest with you, because you'll like talk about something and they just go on like a tangent, or like they start asking me questions and like heckling me almost. And it's just like, oh my goodness. You know what I mean? But like everyone says like people think that it's a lot of like winging it and a lot of improv. Like people don't think like what you just said, like they don't think that that's, because I've heard a lot of people say that that's their process.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I have.
It depends. Like some do just like, oh my gosh, there's so many. Like I'm trying to think of their name right now. Oh, it's escaping me. It's gonna drive me nuts. There's some guys that don't prepare a single word and they just go up there and do crowd work the whole time and kill for an hour. And that just frightens the hell out of me. I'll wing it a little bit. Like when you're, hey, how's he doing? What, anyone on a date? You know, all that stuff. That's improv. But you know, you have your little tags ready to go if you know, somebody says something sassy. But no, I'm very impressed with the guys that can just get up there and go. Mike Dambra, thank you, came to me. Mike Dambra, great comedian. You know him?
Yeah, absolutely.
All he does is crowd work.
There were a few others like that do a lot of crowd work. And sometimes it will like come up on like TikTok.
Yeah.
When you follow one comedian, it's over, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's interesting you say that they're tough interviews too, because I know some of them are very depressed. Some of us are very opposite from what we do on stage.
Well, I had one time, so I interviewed a comedian that I asked him about like heckling. And I guess it was like at the time where like it was still a pandemic, but like there were like shows were happening. Okay. So I asked him about like heckling, and he just lost it because the night before he like got heckled by someone and like it wasn't good and anything, and he just went on he just like got really upset about it, and it happened like the night. So we did the interview. It'd be like, I asked you about heckling, and you're like, well, Petey, you know, last night I did a show, and a guy just ruined everything. And I was just like, oh my god. So and then
Who was it, Petey? Tell me after.
Yeah, I will tell you after. No, actually, you know what? It's not even. It was Brett Ernst, who's in Cobra Kai.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Brett Ernst. No, it's true. I said it was a secret. It's not a secret. Like, it's on the one.
We could go watch the interview.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But yeah,
but you know what? I don't get heckled nearly enough. I like getting heckled because I have a list of things that I want to say, like, you know, I was gonna do my impression of a jackass, but this guy beat me to it. Ha 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 ha. You know,
this is the greatest thing that's ever happened. I might clip that. I have a list.
I have a list. I do. I have canned responses for everything, and this I say.
I didn't even see. You just had, because like you don't see the piece of paper. You're just like, I have a list.
I've got tons of lists. I got lists about the grocery store. I got lists what I got to do with my dog. I got lists.
It's so crazy. Jesse, this was so much fun chatting with you. I can't believe we finally did this. Like, I know. It's crazy.
I can't wait until we work on something together because I think you and I would have a lot of crazy ideas.
Absolutely, and I can't wait. Thank you so much again. And on TUBI, Obsessed to Death, yourself,
Thank you.
Holland Roden, and they can check that on TUBI. Instagram, they could keep up to date with you on Instagram, right?
Absolutely, yeah. The trailer's out there now. I posted it this morning, so please watch the trailer. I'm very proud of it.
Absolutely. Well, it's been Pop Alternative, youtube.com/PopTurnative for previous episodes. Obsessed to Death on TUBI now. Until next time, it's Jesse Reynolds and Petey Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.